Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, October 25th. A little over 400 albums coming out this week. I got 14 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, a little over 400 albums coming out this week. Only going to talk about 14 on the show though today, so if there's something I don't talk about, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comments section for them. You can always go over to the Vinyl Den Amazon store also. I've got all the pre-orders on there. I've got new releases on there. There's vinyl accessories, all sorts of cool stuff to check out. There's a few big new albums that are getting released this week, but I've got two super deluxe box sets that are going to kick off the list this week. The first one is Green Day American Idiot. This is the 20th anniversary edition, released back in 2004. It was their 7th studio album. You got multiple versions of this are going to be available. There's a 2 LP version on red and black splatter. It's going to run you around $40. There's a 8 LP super deluxe box set. It's going to run you around $200. And then if you want a one-step pressing, this is an album that I don't think really needs to be on an audiophile release, but if you want a copy of the one-step pressing, it's going to run you around $125. You know, this is one of the biggest albums of the 2000s. It would sell over 20 million copies worldwide. You know, it spawned a Broadway musical. It won a Grammy in 2005. I think this album really brought Green Day back into the mainstream. You got a lot of stuff in this box set, though. The 8 LP box set has unreleased demos. It's got a live show from 2004. It's got B-sides. It's got bonus tracks. It's got a 36-page booklet. You know, it's got all the other stuff you would expect to be in a box set. There's a Green Day flag in there. There's an American Idiot tie. You know, most of the stuff that, you know, most people out there don't really care anything about that stuff. But, you know, I'm really interested in checking out the music that's included in here. I've got the super deluxe box set already on pre-order. I think 200 is a lot for that box set, but I got a really good deal on it, so that's why I've got that pre-ordered. Then you also got the debut album from Queen coming out this week, released back in '73. So there's two different versions of this. You got the super deluxe box set. It's going to run you around $175. And then there's the 1 LP, just the standard release of it. That's going to run you around $30. This is all newly remixed, remastered. And I didn't know this until just recently, but when they released this album back in '73, it was missing a track on it. So they've restored that the track. The track is called Mad the Swine. It was cut off the track. It was cut off the album because of time constraints when it was released in '73. So they've added a song back on to the album, and both the box set and the standard release. There's a lot of other stuff in this box set though. So the super deluxe version is just 1 LP, but it comes with 6 CDs. There's demos, there's backing tracks, there's a live show from London in 1970. Comes with a 108-page book. It's all housed in a nice deluxe slipcase. Looks like it's a really nice release. I'm not a huge fan of these single album releases, even though I already have one on pre-order, but you know, it's really got to be a really special album for me to grab a 1 LP or a single album box set, which, you know, American Idiot for me is one of those albums. Queen 1 is not. You know, I think it's probably one of their weaker albums in the 70s, but you know, it might be a cool one to check out. Hopefully I'll be able to stream some of the extra stuff they got in that box set. You also get the latest album from Eminem getting a vinyl release this week. This is The Death of Slim Shady. This is his 12th studio album, 2 LP version. So the standard version of this is going to be on red and blue vinyl. It's going to run you around $40. I actually pre-ordered the version off his website because I like the alternate artwork better than the standard release. So that's one I pre-ordered. You know, I know this album was met with some pretty mixed reviews. It was released digitally back in July. I really thought Houdini, which was the lead single off the album, it's the only track on the album I've listened to. I thought it was a great track. I thought it was one of his best songs in a really long time. That's why I pre-ordered it. I've held off on listening to the album until I can get it on vinyl. So I think this is Eminem's first. Maybe it's not his first. I don't know. I think it's his first concept album, though. And if it's not, it's his first concept album in a very long time. So the theme of this album, it's like this battle between Eminem and his alter ego, Slim Shady, which I think is kind of cool. You know, I'm interested in checking this out. Like I said, I pre-ordered it. I'll get a copy of it this week and listen to it. And then you also get the new album from Halsey coming out, which is The Great Impersonator. It's her fifth studio album. It's going to run you around $30. There's multiple versions of this also. So this is a follow-up to If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, which was her album that she released in 2021. I absolutely love that album. And I was never a Halsey fan until that album came out. It ended up being one of my favorite albums of 2021. So she worked with Trent Reznor on that album. I was hoping she was going to continue to work with him, but after I understood the concept of this album, I understand why she didn't. So the concept of this album is, what would Halsey's life and career been if she'd lived through multiple different decades? So there's a 70s version, at least artwork wise. There's a 70s version, there's an 80s version, the 90s and 2000s. And she's got songs across the album that fit in those four generations or those four decades, which I think is really kind of a cool concept for an album. So, like I said, I loved her last album. I'll definitely stream this one and check it out. There's also the new album from 311 coming out this week. This is Full Bloom. It's their 14th studio album. It's going to be on orange vinyl. Going to run you around $25. It's the band's first album in 5 years, but to be completely honest, I don't think I've listened to a 311 album in 25 years. So, this is an album, I was never a huge 311 fan, so it's definitely an album I'll go and stream this weekend, and I definitely need to go back through and check out some of their other stuff. I love some of their 90s stuff. I really like their first two albums. I think I've got their first two albums on vinyl, but really wasn't all that impressed with anything that came out after that. So, I'll like I said, I'll stream that one and check it out. I know the first single off of it got quite a bit of airplay. It's like their highest charting song or single in 13 years. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'll check that one out. You also got the new album from Ben Folds coming out this week. This is Sleigher, which I think is kind of it's a funny title. It's a Christmas album is basically what it is. But it's his fifth studio album. It's going to run you around $30. This is a collection of new Christmas tracks and reimagined classics. The funny thing is about this album is Ben Folds said this is not a Christmas album, but a Ben Folds album set at Christmas time, which I don't know. Isn't that just a Christmas album? But, I like a good Christmas album. I'll definitely stream this one also. There's also the new album from Soccer Mommy coming out this week. This is Evergreen. It's her fourth studio album. It's going to run you around $23 online. So Soccer Mommy she was born, her birth name is Sophie Allison. She's a singer-songwriter from Nashville. I was really impressed with her first three albums. And I know that this is one of those musicians that I think is really, up and coming. And, I think she's going to do a lot of really great stuff in her career. It was really her last album that got me into her. And then I went back and listened to other stuff, was really impressed. So with this new album, she wanted to have this more like stripped down sound. She wanted the sound to be a little closer to what she had on the original demos. It's one that I don't have on pre-order, but I'm definitely looking forward to streaming and listening this week. Like I said, I think she's going to be doing some great stuff in her career. I'm excited for that new release. Then you also get the new album from Tears for Fears coming out this week. This is Songs of a Nervous Planet. So it's their 8th studio album. This is a 2 LP release. It's going to run you around $30. So this is a follow-up to The Tipping Point, which came out in 2022, I think is when that came out, which is a huge album. It got a lot of really great reviews. It was the band's first album in 17 years. I think that was their only their second album since the mid 90s. But I've got some questions about this new release. So this new album has 4 new tracks on it, and then it has 12 live tracks, live versions of some of their biggest tracks. I couldn't see anything about when these live tracks were recorded, so I don't know if this is off of the Tipping Point tour or if it's from earlier in their career. If you do know, you can drop me a comment down below and let me know. But it's another one I'll add to my list to stream this week. If you're an ABBA fan, I think the definitive collection from them is coming out this week. This is the singles, the first 50 years. So this is a new compilation spanning the band's career. It's a 4 LP release. It's going to run you around $140. So back in 1982, ABBA released a compilation called The Singles, the first 10 years. So this is an expanded version of that. I have the 82 release. I'm not the biggest ABBA fan. My wife is, but I'm fine with just having that version from 82. So this new version, this new expanded edition, has 38 tracks from across their career. Comes with a 24-page book. It comes in a deluxe jacket. It looks like a nice release. If you're an ABBA fan and you don't really have anything in your collection, I think this is a great. This is probably, like I said, the definitive release. This has all their best songs on it, at least in my opinion. Then you also got a reissue of Once Bitten by Great White getting reissued this week. Released back in 1987, it was their 3rd studio album. It's going to run you around $28 online. This is the album I discovered Great White through. So this came out in '87, so it's probably sometime in '88 that I heard this album. But Rock Me was a huge track. I remember there's a lot of radio airplay it got. It was on MTV also. It was the song that really kind of helped push this album up. But ended up hitting number 23 on the Billboard 200. Sold over 1 million copies in the U.S. This is the album that really brought Great White into the mainstream. And then the last 4 albums I got on my list this week are, at least in my opinion, the 4 best Ratt albums. So the first one you got is Invasion of Your Privacy. This came out back in 1985. It was their second studio album. This is going to be on black, gray, and white vinyl. It's going to run you around $28. This album was actually the second straight, along with their debut album, second straight top 10 album here in the U.S. Both of them hit number 7 on the Billboard 200. This album that really, I think, established their blend of hard rock and blues, really became a staple in their career, and it also helped make Ratt one of the biggest hard rock bands of at least the middle part of the 80s. And then the second one is Dancing Undercover. This was released in '86. It was their third studio album. This is going to be on red, black, and white vinyl. It's also going to run you about $28. This wasn't as successful as their first 2 albums. I mean, it still charted pretty well. I think it hit number 26 on the Billboard 200. Had more of a raw sound. I think it was more aggressive also. I don't think it was as well received as their first couple of albums. I think over the years, it's become a fan favorite. And then the third album coming out from Ratt this week is Reach for the Sky. This was released back in 1988. It was their 4th studio album. It's going to be on white vinyl. It's going to run you about $28. This is the band's 4th straight platinum album in the U.S. Hit number 17 on the Billboard 200. It was a little bit more of almost like a more polished album, a little more catchier. Almost has this almost like a rock anthem kind of sound to it. And this is the album I started listening to Ratt on. I know it was met with some pretty mixed reviews, but I've long thought of this as a really good album. And then the last album I got on my list is Detonator, released in 1990. It was their 5th studio album. It's going to be on red vinyl. It's also going to be $28. This was the band's last album with Atlantic. And by 1990, music was really changing. I think Ratt was trying to change with it. This is definitely more radio friendly. I think it might have turned off some of their longtime fans, but it still charted pretty well. Hit number 23 on the Billboard 200. I definitely say this was a commercially successful album. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. I've got some stuff on pre-order this week. I'm definitely grabbing the American Idiot. Actually, I've got the box set and the 2 LP release of American Idiot on pre-order. I've got the Eminem release on pre-order. I'll probably pick up the Halsey album, because like I said, I loved her last album. I'm really intrigued by this new release. Got some question marks by some of those other ones. I need to go back and listen to those Ratt albums. But let me know what you're interested in grabbing this week. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.